I had a request by someone with regard to the Martha Stewart clay to show how to do the fern leaves, because they're very thin, and the person was having some trouble, I guess, popping them out, which is what I had problems with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've taken a piece of clay about so big. I think that should be about enough. I would say it's about half an inch, something like that. And then we're going to pop that into our fern. Now obviously what we want is not only for the fern to come out nicely, but we want that the edges are neat. We don't want to have to tidy those up later. So the problem is getting it so the edges are neat, but there's enough thickness to the actual fern so that when you pop it out, it actually doesn't break. So what I find is, and if you can look just from the side, I have slightly made it thicker than the actual design. It's unlike my other ones where I went over with my little tool and really rolled it out flat. I've left it just a little bit thicker because it is so thin that we need to help ourselves a little bit with that. And then I'm going to just very carefully, using my fingers, and just wet your fingers with a bit of water or something if necessary, just to gently ease these pieces back in. And it is a little bit longer, this process, on the fern, because you're trying to get the pieces correct, thick enough to stay put, but not so thin that it, not so thick that it's taking away your definition around the edges. So let's just very carefully and you can see there's quite a bump in the middle here, and we may find we want to take a little bit of that off because it's probably just a little bit too thick. So let's just gently ease that away, and then just keep going. Now I'm going this way now because I'm pulling it off, so those fern little petals as it were, but the little stalks of the leaves, the fronds I think they're officially called, are showing nicely. And then again, just keep moistening your finger, because it makes it easier for that to move around. I'm trying also to make sure I'm out of your way for looking on the camera, but as you can see it's a bit more fiddly. And we've got another chunk off there, and I think we're not far off being roughly the right amount of clay now. And then again, moistening our finger, we're just going to push up towards the fern itself, just to get some of that shape in now. These little, I keep trying to call them petals and I don't really mean that. The little pokey bits of the leaf anyway, which I'm sure it's fronds, isn't it? Just taking those little extra bits that are popping off there. Again, making sure the finger, you just keep damping it in some water. Just have a little bit of water at the side, in a glass or whatever. I'm just going to push some of that clay up towards the top here, and I'll show you why in a minute. Take some of the excess off the bottom, and I think that's probably all the excess gone now. I said that just now, didn't I? But anyway, we'll see. And then we're just gonna, so as I say, this one's a bit more fiddly because it is so delicate, but it's worth the extra effort. And to be honest, even if it splits in two, it's not the end of the world. When you pop it out and it splits in two, I had that happen to me and I still kept it. I let it dry and I kept those pieces because I was able to use it as a smaller piece of, like a smaller fern, and it was rather cute. So I just want to make sure these nicer edges are nicely neat and tidy now. And we're just again making sure not only are they tidy but they're not so thin. See up the top here it seems, I don't know if you can see where I've got the thickness, particularly down the bottom here, but whereas at the top you can't see it, so we'll just want to use a damp finger and just very lightly push some of that clay up nearer the top so that where it is thinner we've got a bit more clay in there, and again just making sure that the shape is coming through nicely. There we go. Oops. So I think that's not too bad now. I'm just a little bit worried that some of these might be a bit, there we go. Don't want that piece to be too thin because that's where it can go wrong. Okay, so I guess you could, and I haven't tried it, you could wait and let it dry a bit into the, not completely, but leave it sort of 10 minutes or something and let it dry a little bit into the shape before you pop it out. What I don't know is if you do that, whether it will almost stick to the mould, because, well, I just haven't tried it and I'm not sure whether that would work. You are meant to pop it out straight away. So if you, again, if you can look from the side, let's see which way is better for you. There we go. You can see it's kind of bumped up in the middle. So what I've done is where it is a thin mould, is I've actually created some thickness myself at the back, and I've just tried carefully to do that and not to make too much of a mess, but keep it as thick as I can on these little pokey out bits. So then all I do is I pull back the sides and then turn it over and hope I'm using the table to just help push. Basically all I'm doing is trying to push the mould not only side to side, but by using the table I'm pushing it that way, so that's what pops it out. And there we have our leaf popped out. Now you can see there is a few little pieces between. I'll just bring you down a bit closer so you can see. You can see just in here, for example, there's a little bit of clay there, but to be honest you could, if you want to, tidy that up by just using your tool here if you're worried, but I really don't think you'd notice that because it really does look part of it. But I mean, look, 2 seconds and that's gone. Because we've done most of the work already. So then all you need to do is just allow that, whoops, to dry overnight or for the 24 hours, and you will have a gorgeous, there we go, just not those edges, a gorgeous leaf. And it is absolutely stunning. As you can see, the detail is incredible, apart from the bit where I just squidged it because I was trying to move it around. And that's the thing, I would definitely, when you put it out, almost immediately just very carefully lift it to wherever you're going to keep it so it dries and it's in the right place. But that's how I do my leaves or any of the thinner items, is I kind of create the thickness at the back where it's not going to show when it's dry. It is kind of almost bulbous. It's almost sticking out in the middle as much as you can to give it as much thickness as you can. And the other thing you can do with the leaves, I found, is after sort of about halfway through the drying process, is I took a pencil and I just put it underneath part of my leaf, and then I was able to create a curve in my leaf and dry it with a curve in the leaf. So you could fiddle around with dimension in that way. You could do it straight away, but the problem I think by doing it straight away is that you are likely to damage the design detail at that point, and it still is pliable after quite some time, and to be honest it's even quite pliable once it's completely dry, because it's quite soft anyway because of the nature. It's not really clay, so it doesn't dry hard. It dries almost like marshmallow, so you can still maneuver it. But anyway, this was meant to be just a quick video to show you how to do the fern leaf, so I hope that's helped, and I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.